that through funds and programs and stuff, like the first, all this thing, just keep on this man today. So he don't deserve it. But I mean, not deserve it. He don't deserve it. He don't deserve to be here, period. I know it's all my life. He never was a bad person. He never was a troublemaker. He's always talking to me. I used to get on drugs and all this other stuff, and he used to encourage me. Man, come on, bro. Hey. But, you know, I'm here about 2 days to be home with his family. Like my sister said, my family say he's all this about everybody his family. He deserves a chance. So just get back that program. You know, that's not just define him of the past, let's define him like what we see, the transformation. He needs to be out in this thing. Now, he deserves it. And we ask y'all to stay considerate that about his family. He got support in it. When he come home, he got a family right here. We don't be there. You know what I'm saying? We in church. We got family that love him. He hurt, we hurt. As you can see with something up here, she hurt. This day, we think about him all the time. And we just ask y'all to take considerate that. I'm trying to make it all better. Out to his mind for real. And right now, I'm hurt. To see him behind his ball, he don't deserve to be there. And I just want to thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to speak, because I know I have changed my life around. And so I just hope y'all take that into consideration and bless this family. Give him this freedom. He deserves it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we have Charmaine Jackson.
Morning. My name's Jermaine Jackson. I currently live in Scottsdale from the office. I've known Spot just about this house to go from. We call him Spot. I say Spot instead of Melvin because he was a kid, he got burned. When he moved to the Desire Project where he grew up at, he had Spot in the city, the burn Spot. That's how we got the name Spot. And that's been the name all my life. But since a kid, he's just been this genuine person, always helped anybody he could help. And as he got older, he started coming to Baton Rouge with his father, hanging with his dad, doing things with his dad on the cab. And he'd always say, when I get old enough, I'm going to Baton Rouge. Work for my daddy and get me a cab. You know, we laughed him off like, boy, go ahead. You can get a job just like the rest of us and work every day like the rest of us. He said, nah, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to Baton Rouge and I'm going to get me a cab. I'm going to be my own boss. And that's what he did. And that's what he did. And anybody and everybody through the years, he'd come home, he'd talk, clown, do what we do. And anybody that he encountered, he helped. I've never seen him incite anything. I've never seen him do anybody wrong. And I'm just telling you what I know of this man that's incarcerated all these years. Now, whatever transpired in the moment that this incident happened, and trust me, I'm not bypassing the fact that somebody lost their life. A life was lost. But believe me, and I'll say with most sincerity, I can promise you he didn't incite it. He didn't start. The end result was him protecting himself. And I can tell you that from what I know about this man. And I'm just asking you to look in your heart, look at the facts of this case. The whole fact that, the fact that none of these witnesses are here to attest to what happened. You know, they didn't, from what I understand, one at the last one, if you're so sure that this is what happened, I would be here to defend my people. If this victim was not my kinfolk, I would be here to defend them. I would be here at every parole here. But the fact that you don't think it's important enough to come here and defend that, that just speaks volumes for me that this man that I know and I grew up with would never personally intentionally hurt anybody. He would never do that. And I'm asking you to look at your hearts. And grant his freedom. Grant his freedom. You know, he's going to be a productive citizen. As you can see, we're all here. We're all here to support him. Whatever he comes out and decides he wants to do, we're all here to support him. And we're just asking you, because you have the power. You have the power to do that, to grant him his freedom and allow him to come and be a productive citizen back into our society, which is actually as his family, as his friends, to do that. To do that. And that God's will be done. We just ask that you to be of our hearts and do that and send it back to us so that we can nurture him and move him back into society to be a productive citizen that we all know he can be. And I thank y'all for your time. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jackson, your case has been assigned. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. Would you answer his questions, please?
Oh, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been to state police barracks?
I don't-
Oh, okay, you're not going.
Right, I go there.
Okay, let's cut through the chase. Where did you get the gun that you shot this man and woman with?
I had bought it. I only had the gun for my protection as a cab driver. You know, normally I never would even take a gun with me, but I have to be in my cab that night. That's where I usually keep it at. But yeah, I had bought it. I bought it from a pawn shop a while.
Did you have it on you when you was in there dancing?
No, sir, I didn't. No.
Went to your cab and got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Were they in a car leaving when you shot through the window?
Yeah, they were. They were.
Okay.
Like I said, I was so I didn't even know what was going on. But yes, so they were in the car either.
Okay. So to say you were protecting yourself, as I heard this morning, is not true.
The thing of it is, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know, you know, I was out of it. I wasn't even myself that night.
Okay. All right. I get that. I get that. All right, we got some letters here. I'm not going to read them, but we do have some letters of opposition from the victim's brother and sister, and I believe the wife. We do have some letters, saying in opposition they didn't come. They didn't come the last time, but they did take the time to write letters saying that you shouldn't be out, so you need to know that, But one thing that concerns me through this whole thing is I've only heard one time, it's one of the folks that was testifying for you, any mention of the victim that died. I mean, you didn't mention that you knew the suffering that had occurred. You didn't mention any of that. You just mentioned briefly about what happened and some of the things that you've done. What about the victim? Tell me about what you think the victim went through and their family.
Yeah, well, I regret what they went through because I've lost family members through violence, and I can understand what they went through. But I deeply regret what I did. It's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable to my family and everyone else. But had I not, okay.
Okay, did you finish? I didn't want to cut you off. Did you?
Okay, yeah. Had I not been drinking, I would have got around that. I would have had time to think. I just didn't have that 1 minute to think. Then I would have probably discerned that was his wife. But by her father introducing me to her, I didn't know that was that she even had a husband. I didn't ask her nothing about that because it was just a friendly dance, So, but had I not been drinking, I'm sure I would have gotten around it.
The fact that it was his wife, it really doesn't make any difference. The fact that she had left, you followed them out, and they're leaving in the car, and you shoot.
Yeah.
That's what. So the fact of her relationship with the guy that came in and got her doesn't count him. The question.
Mr. Jackson, I see you were a tear walker. How long were you a tear walker?
About approximately 14, 15 years, something like that.
14 or 15 years?
Approximately 14, 15
I was
years.
a tear walker. You saw a lot of things, huh?
I did what now?
Saw a lot of things when you were tear walking, right?
You said drink?
Did you see a lot of things?
Oh, yes, I couldn't understand you. Yeah, I saw a lot of things. I've also prevented a lot of things. I've talk guys out of trying to hang themselves and all that type of stuff, you know.
What other community service have you done at the prison? I know tier walking is important.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other kind of community service?
Well, I've got some programs and stuff like cooking school, carpentry school.
You make toys for kids or donate to anything?
No, I don't. I'm not in the hobby shop. No, no sir. No, sir.
Okay, I have no
I
further.
mainly, I mainly work a lot around right up here at the A building up here. That's groundskeeper.
Is there any particular reason that you're a medium custody?
Well, I've been meeting them since I've been here. Well, back in 2015, if Mr. Van Noy remember, he had asked Warren Pope to make me a trustee. But at that time, Warren Pope had his reasons why he didn't do it. So, you know, that's why I'm still meeting him.
No further questions.
Like that's the person. Mr. Jackson, you say you were dancing and the guy came in, he pushed you,
Yes, sir.
and then he grabbed his wife and left out.
He grabbed her and he left out her. So I didn't know if that was his wife or what. I didn't know. But at that time, you know, my mind was like she might be in trouble. Like I say, I'm drunk. I don't even realize what's going on. I didn't find out nothing. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, I didn't find out none of that until later that was his wife.
So you came out of the bar, got a gun, and then you went and shot through the car.
Yeah, when I shot through the car, I really didn't even know I hit him. And when I found out that he was in fact shot, I waited to find me a lawyer and I turned myself in.
Honestly, I have no more questions.
So how long have you been in jail, Mr. Jackson?
I'm saying about 31 years.
And I did look, you've only had one other arrest, and that had to do with child support.
Yes, ma'am.
Failure to appear at a child support hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about the victims. I see that you, as part of your 100 hours, there's a component in there about victim awareness. What did you learn in that?
Well, I didn't take victim awareness. I took the 100 hours,
You
yeah.
had a section of victim awareness. So she asked you, what did you learn at that section in 100 hours?
During the victim awareness.
Yeah.
Well, I learned how to get around situations and diffuse situations. You know, it's more to it. It's other ways around besides violence, you know.
So you mentioned you keep saying that you were just drunk that night. You had a lot to drink. How much had you had to drink?
I had an awful lot. I had been drinking all day.
What were you drinking?
Beer.
So you drank beer all day long?
That's my
Was
drink.
that normal for you to do that? You drank beer every day? Did you do that every day?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So what have you done to address that issue? That's a serious problem if it led you to this crime.
Yeah, I was substance abuse. Substance
Which
abuse.
program did you finish?
Ma'am,
Which program did you take?
the chemical chemical
Living in Balance.
living in balance, all right.
You did that a couple of years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
2023.
2023.
What do you plan to do if you're released?
I plan to try to get me a job so I can go back into my own business and stuff, and just be a productive citizen.
Where you plan to live? I mean, where would you?
Pine Grove, Louisiana.
Is that where the incident took place?
No, sir. The incident took place in Baton Rouge. Pine Grove is 16.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I know where it is.
All right, I don't see any other questions, so we're prepared to vote.
Yeah.
Mr. Prater.
Let's see, Mr. Jackson, I think that you've done well. You seem like a nice fella. It's been you know, 30 years since the crime took place. But the fact is that you still went, it bothers me, you went to your cab, got your gun, came back, shot into a car, hit two people, one of them died. And the position is still there, and you got a life sentence. And although I don't necessarily think it needs to be, but it's hard to get around the victim opposition letter, and how these folks, and the fact that wasn't immediately what you brought up. I had to ask you about that. That bothers me too. My vote's to deny.
Mr. Freeman?
You know, I appreciate you being a tier walker. That's a tough job. 15 years. A lot of people don't last but about a year on that job. You've done a good prison. That was the heat of the moment type deal. Even though you were all in the wrong, you shouldn't go get that gun. But today, I commute your sentence to 99 years with immediately eligibility for.
Mr. Tillis?
I concur with Mr. Freeman. I feel that maybe a second chance, I hope would be better.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, I see that you had a previous board, probably that I was a member of, voted to commute your sentence and made a recommendation to the Governor General, and that was never signed. So I would stick with that vote. My vote today would be to recommend a commutation of your sentence to 65 years. Now, Mr. Jackson, it requires a unanimous vote today.
Okay.
So you received 3 that were favorable to your application, 1 that was not. So today your application for clemency has been denied. So
Okay.
all right. Good morning, Mr. Washington.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fine.
Good. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name, your seat number.
Oh, Marlon Washington, 12589
All right, Mr. Washington. Let me acknowledge the folks who have joined us today by Zoom. In support, we have that want to speak on your behalf. We have your son Marlon Jr. and your friend Tina Wiseman. We also have Rose Manis, Monique Jordan, Shalon Cole, and Jeanette Jones. Here in opposition, representing the district attorney's office, we have Ms. Leon Fitzgerald. And so we'll call on those people at the appropriate time. First, let me just read some identifier information into the record, Mr. Washington. You're classified as a 6th felony offender. You're seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Caddo Parish in June of 2002 to life for illegal use of a weapon or dangerous instrument, aggravated burglary, attempted aggravated burglary, and as a habitual offender, illegal use of a weapon or dangerous instrument. Is that information correct, Mr. Washington?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Washington, before we get started, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like for you to tell us specifically why you're in prison and why did you submit an application seeking a commutation of your sentence, and why do you think we should vote favorably for you today?
Oh, okay. You want me to talk about the event that happened on the night of February 18th?
Yep.
Oh, well, on the night of February 18th, I went to Mrs. Johnson's house to speak with Mrs. Johnson about the affair we was having that was, ending at the time. It was had ended, and I was trying to get back with Mrs. Johnson, but apparently nothing worked out. And so later I left, and when I come back to talk with Mrs. Johnson, at the same time when we was talking outside, she told me to leave, but I didn't leave. And at the same time, I threatened her, and I threatened to kill her. But I told her I love her. The only reason why I wouldn't do that. And so, at the same time after that, she a friend of hers come out the house and saw us out there arguing and getting, had a confrontation. And once that happened, I went into a jealous rage. When I did that, I pulled a weapon on Mrs. Jones. I put a gun on her, and I pointed the gun at her, and I fired the weapon twice. And after that, a friend, he pursued himself into the house, and I went to the door and tried to get in the door. The door was locked, so I forced myself in the door and went in there, and I approached him and said some things to him, and I shot him in the reckless a couple of times. And once I did that, I left. I fled the house. When I fled the house, I went next door, and I asked where she was, and the neighbor told me she wasn't in there, and I apologized to the neighbor, and I left, and I fled the scene. And later, they had a warrant out for my arrest, and I got arrested later on, weeks later. I can't really remember what day it was when I got arrested, but I got arrested a week later, a couple of weeks later. And I don't know really what day, how many weeks.
That's okay. So we have that information. So why do you think you deserve a commutation of your sentence?
Well, first of all, due to the fact that I want, once again, respectfully own up to my responsibility concerning the crime of illegal use of weapons and aggravated burglary against Mrs. Johnson. And also I'm a deeply apologetic, deeply and truly apologetic for what I've done. And I'm sincerely, I'm very remorseful for what I've done. I agree with a lot because what I did to Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Sellers, because I wasn't raised like that. It's not a day go by that I don't agree behind that, because they deserve better. And I wish I could just turn the time back and do it better. And it hurts me every day because of what I did. And because I have a daughter,
I have kids of my own. I have grandchildren now. I have a mother, sisters, and when I look at things like, you know, shows domestic abuse shows, you know, I look at them and I be very sad, you know, because I look at myself when I do that. I say, man, I couldn't believe I did something like that, and it disturbed me, you know, but it helped, you know, helped me empathize, you know, and be more remorseful for what I've done with sincerity. And so also I have rehabilitated myself, you know, mentally, you know, and I have taken film that has strengthened my mentality on how to control negative emotions and normal behaviors and better respect concerning moral principles of human life. And I have also educated myself, which helped boost up my low self-esteem I've lived with during the past in my lifestyle, which actually hindered me from reaching bigger and better goals in my life. I'm now well prepared and mentally and physically to face challenges by becoming a productive citizen now. Before I come to prison, I wasn't educated, you know, I wasn't intelligent as I am now. And now I'm prepared and I'm ready to face, you know, my challenges in society.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Warden, what can y'all tell us about it?
I can tell you that in his 23 years of being here, he only has 7 DB reports, his last one being Rule 3, the defiance in 2014. He has taken a plethora of classes to rehabilitate himself. He also has his GED, and he did a letter of accountability to the victim. So Mr. Washington has really been preparing for this day.
All right, good, thank you. All right, we want to hear from the folks that want to speak in favor of Mr. Washington. Could we first hear from the son, Marlon Jr.?
Yeah, it's Marlon Jr. How you doing?
Good, go ahead. What would you like us to know about your dad?
I mean, I feel like he ready to come home. You know, he got big support system out here in California. It's been a long time since I seen my father. We prepare for this day. Excuse me, sorry. Like, he missed out on a lot. I just wanted to get out and have the opportunity to see his grandkids, his kids. You know, have that bond that he never been able to have. He's very sorry for what he did. He got a program for him to come out here and just live a happy life he always wanted. You know, like I'm sorry for what he did too, but everybody deserves a second chance. You know, I just want to see my father come out here and just be able to, like, go to basketball games, everything with him. Just do things I never got able to do with him. And we've been waiting for this day for a long time. We've been here supporting him the whole time he's been in jail.
Thank you, Marlon. We appreciate those heartfelt remarks. Thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. Could we hear from Tina now, Tina Wiseman?
Yes, hi. I'm Marlon's junior mother, and me and Marlon Sr. went to high school together. We've been knowing each other for a long, long time. He's very, very remorseful for what he has done to the families of the victims and to the victims. I talk to him regularly, and he shows me a lot of support, well, remorse, and I, you know, really want to support him and get out to let him know that he does have a support system out here in California. We do have a program set up for him so he can be better in society and just be there for his family, so his family can be there also for him. Like my son said, he does have grandkids. He has family members that he hasn't been able to see or just talk to. We have to communicate with him over the phone. And I know he's been in there for a long, long time, and he has done a lot of programs. And I am very, very supportive of him for the person that he has become now versus when he was younger. He has gotten older. He has matured. He has shown a lot of difference in his personality and the things that he has set out to prove, not just to you guys, but to us as his family. So I just really hope that you guys allow him to get out and be with his family and really prove himself to you guys that he has changed to do better. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for speaking with us today. Mr. Washington, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you answer his questions, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Washington.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good. Mr. Washington, so you went there and y'all argued, okay? And you shot her first and then you went into the house and shot the other man?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you kicked in the door to shoot him, as you said.
Yes,
There
sir.
was children in the home? Was there the kids there?
Yeah, her daughter, she told me that the guy that was there was just a friend, you know, and I was so much in a violent rage, you know. I heard what she said, and what I had prior to doing already. Then when she told me that, I fled the house.
Didn't you go back, but you didn't have any more bullets?
I read that in my transcript. They said I was so much in a violent rant. I read in my transcript, so apparently they knew. They knew. Most likely I did. I didn't have any more bullets left, but I left the house and went next door and tried to look for her, you know, because I realized what I had did, you know, was really messed up, but it was too late, you know. But I didn't have any more bullets.
Okay. You know, you have what I would call a terrible criminal history.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of it is violent. I see you have aggravated kidnapping, simple criminal damage to property. What was that about? That was back in '95.
Yes, sir. Me and a friend of mine, we was out drinking and partying outside the apartment complex, and I had a gun and I shot the gun up in the air, and from then on, the security guard in the apartment complex came to see what was going on, and so she put me in the car. I told her to put me in the car and take me away from the apartment complex, and so I left the apartment complex. She took me away from the apartment complex, and the security guard was threatening to put her out of her apartment, and she was about to lose her children and everything. So they pressed charges, and I pleaded guilty to the charge, you know, so she wouldn't lose her kids or nothing like that.
Gotcha. You know, you've taken some good classes. You do have a great disciplinary record. You've only served 24 years of a life sentence. You're a 6th felony offender. How old are you?
59.
59. Okay, so relatively young. I have no further questions.
All right. Before I defer to my colleagues, we'd like to hear from the Victim Assistance Coordinator, Ms. Fitzgerald.
Good morning. I'm Leanne Fitzgerald. I'm with the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office, and I do oppose clemency today. I think that Mr. Washington says some of the right things, but he won't go as far as I would like regarding accountability and mainly his version of what happened during this offense. If the board members have read the offense reports, you'll know that Mr. Washington went over to Ms. Johnson's house, and I'm not sure if the board is aware that he had actually already gone over to her house once, just hours before this happened. And I have an offense report that Ms. Johnson made telling the police that he had come over, he had put a gun in her face at her home. And when she called the police, they came and circled around, but he had left. They couldn't find him. And that was the end of that until just a short time later when he came back to Miss Rosalind Johnson's house where he had no business being. And when she went out to get something out of her car, there he was again and started shooting. He did go into the house and forced his way into the house to shoot Mr. Sellers. He went back out and shot some more. And then he came back into the house again and was going to shoot Mr. Sellers again, except that his gun was out of ammo. So who knows what would have happened if he had not been out of ammunition whenever he went back into the house to shoot at Mr. Sellers. It's a wonder no one died in this whole ordeal. There were children, multiple children present. I was amused by Mr. Washington's account of going to the neighbor's house next door, because what actually happened was that Miss Johnson ran screaming for her life and begged the neighbors to let her in, where she hid in the bathroom. Mr. Washington came over there and committed an unauthorized entry. There was no polite, "Is she here?" and I apologized and left. He came into the house and went through the neighbor's house looking for her until they convinced him to leave. So that's what actually happened, and to me, that's not full accountability at all. The victims, Mr. Sellers and Miss Johnson, gave statements, and to the victim assistance coordinator that they're still terrified for their lives. I mean, why would they not be? That they would be terrified if Mr. Washington were released. They both suffered gunshot wounds, and they have continuing physical conditions and emotional conditions over all this, which is quite understandable. Mr. Washington, honestly, is the reason why I think our state has habitual offender laws. He's a 6th felony offender. This was not like a wayward youth who made a bad decision. This was a man in his mid-30s who, classic textbook, wasn't going to let Miss Johnson get away. He lost control over her, and so he went over there to teach her a lesson. And Mr. Sellers just happened to be unfortunate and be there as well. So, we're opposed, obviously. Basically, he was terrorizing Miss Johnson.
Can I speak on my dad's behalf? Because you're going a little overboard. So,
No, sir, we've already heard from you. Thank you.
I spoke with the victim, Miss Johnson.
No, Mr. Washington, we've already taken your testimony. We're going to ask Ms. Fitzgerald to wrap it up for us. You have to, Ms. Fitzgerald, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyway, we don't believe it was a crime of passion. We believe it was a crime of calculation and intention. And we do not think that he should be granted clemency. But of course, if he were, then I think it should definitely be impressed upon him to never attempt to have contact with either of the victims in this case. And if he wants to go live in California, then let him go live in California. But we strongly believe that he should not be granted clemency at all. And I appreciate the board's time.
We appreciate your input. Are there any more
Yeah, I
questions?
got a question. Mr. Washington, if released, where would you live? In California?
Yes, sir. I got my son and my brother-in-law, which is my son's mother's brother. They have a program called Shield for Family Corporations that help people who get out of prison to overcome problems like what I went through. And they got me a job prepared for me and home place and things like that. And they want me to be a person to go speak out to the schools and things like that. So I also indicated, could I add additionally to the program about having a domestic dispute program along with that program, because I can relate to things on domestic disputes and domestic abuse. And that's what I'm willing to do. And I'm gonna go to my grave doing it, because I'm totally remorseful for what I've done. I hate what I've done. And I got to reach out to people and let them know about, you know, before things get bad in certain relationships, there have to be some transparency with both sides, you know, about what I went through, and hoping I can change somebody. If I can just change one person from doing what I've done, you know, and I'm willing to do all that. I'm prepared to do all that.
That's it.
All right, Mr. Washington, I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to ask for the vote. Mr. Freeman.
Could I call for executive session, please?
All right, well, we have a motion for executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Freeman. Could you call the roll?
Russell,
Yes.
Tillis,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Washington, stand by. I will be in executive session for just a few moments to discuss confidential matters.
Ma'am.
Can we get a motion to go back in regular session?
Make a motion that we move back into regular session.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, we're back in regular session. It's 10:45. Mr. Washington, we are prepared to vote, and we'll ask Mr. Freeman to vote first.
Okay. Mr. Washington, your interview was excellent, and you know, you did a real good job. You've done a good job since you've been in prison, but you've only served 24 years. And I believe somebody would have lost their life that day if you had more bullets. So I just think it's not your time today. So my vote is to deny victim opposition and law enforcement opposition.
Mr. Tillis.
Mr. Washington, I see the remorse in you. I see the change you've made. And I appreciate what the warden has said about you. My vote's It's got to be Scranton
to commute.
to commute.
Mr. Prater?
I'm going, my vote is to deny. I think the fact that you're a sixth felony offender, I believe, and the fact that we have got to, in our state, send messages to people that think they own other people, they can shoot other people. I love the way that you're interviewed. I think you've learned your lesson. I think that you would be good at teaching domestic violence or being a witness to that. But this particular time, my vote is to deny. Might not be when you reapply again, because I think you have learned your lesson. Because of that, and the seriousness of the crime, and your sixth offender, my vote is to deny.
Mr. Washington, you know what the outcome is. You got one favorable vote. I would say, for me too, I think it's a little premature for you. I think, as I agree with everybody, you did an excellent interview. We do have victim opposition, and what I wrote down is they were concerned by the victims that there was multiple attempts by your family to contact them, and that's inappropriate for your information. But I do believe my vote is to deny also based on your criminal history and the opposition that's been expressed today and in the record. And I do encourage you to stay on the track that you're on, reapply when you're eligible to do so. And I believe you'll have a different outcome. Good luck to you, sir. Wait, hang on. Mr. Miles, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, look, it's talking to you, man.
Look into the camera, they talking to you.
Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
EUDIS BYLES, 304186.
All right, Mr. Biles, let me just read some identifying information into the record. Mr. Biles, you're classified as a third felony offender. You were sentenced in October 1993 in Jefferson Parish to a life sentence for a second-degree murder. Is that correct information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want you to know, before we get started with our process, I want you to know that we have your sister, Ms. Diane Martin, who's joined us by Zoom, and she wants to speak on your behalf. We also have from the DA's office in Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Meyer, who will also be speaking. Before we get into all that, Mr. Biles, we'd like for you to tell us, why are you in prison? And after you tell us that, then tell us, why do you think you deserve to a commutation of your sentence?
Well, I'm in prison for murder. And what happened is I was at the VA hospital over in New Orleans and I met this guy by the name of Robert Dunn. And he asked me if I knew anybody that knew how to make out help him with his VA file, you know. And I said, yeah. I said, but he lives over on the West Bank. And I said I could take you over there. So we got on the ferry and rode over there. Caught a bus down 4th, I think it was. And then I took him over to Mr. Chapman's house. And after that, you know, I told Mr. Chapman he needed someone to help him get his VA files in order. And Mr. Chapman said he would. You know, he tried to do it. And after that, I told him I was going to the store to get me a drink, you know, Coke, whatever. And when I had come back, I wasn't gone that long, but when I had come back, Mr. Chapman was dead, and Robert Dunn was laying over his body. And that even though he killed Mr. Chapman, I introduced him. I was with him, and that's what made me guilty. I don't claim to be innocent. I claim to be guilty. Because if I wouldn't have done that, it never would have happened. So you know, it's my fault that Mr. Chapman was murdered.
So you submitted an application to commute your sentence. Tell us why you think you are deserving of that.
Well, it's I don't really know, to tell you the truth. I don't know if I deserve it or if I did deserve it. I just have no idea.
Okay, well, we'll ask you some questions in a minute. First, we'd like to hear from the board. What can you tell us about Mr. Biles?
Well, the first thing we just found is Mr.
In December, he was diagnosed with pancreatic and liver cancer. He's a trustee. He works at the plumbing shop. He's only had 12 EVs since he's been here. His demeanor's kind of like all the time about like he is today. Eventually, we will be putting him up for medical referral. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, thank you,
I
sir.
don't think we're quite at that stage yet, but it's coming.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Bowles, we'd like to hear from your sister, Ms. Diane Martin, at this time. Ms. Diane? You're still on mute, I think.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, I feel like these are my reasons that I feel like EUDIS should be released. He served over 30 years for his sentence, and I know it says life, but not every state is life. And he is terminally ill now, and he does. Sorry, he does have a place to stay with my cousin in Texas. He has told my brother that he would let him live with him there in Jefferson, Texas. So, and I feel like maybe since he's been in there too, he hasn't caused any trouble or anything like that.
All right, well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your input, Ms. Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to hear from the DA's office, Mr. Meyer.
Good morning, Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. We were opposed to his request for commutation of the sentence. He was sentenced to life without benefit of parole. And based on the warden's statements, it appears that he's going to they'll be seeking a medical parole for him. So that's one reason why we're opposed at this point. If he is entitled to the medical parole, that's something that he'll be, I guess, would be applicable, notwithstanding what the board does here today. Looking at his record, he had a history of violence. The progress report in the record indicates that substance abuse is recommended, treatments are recommended. I didn't see any. He took Living in Balance, but other than that, no Alcoholics Anonymous, no 12 steps, none of those programs that would be very beneficial to him. And finally, the facts are somewhat different than what Mr. Byles has testified to. He stated today, he gave a number of statements to police. The last one, he admitted to throwing Chapman on the bed and grabbing his arms, holding him back, and tying him down. He claims he left. When he returned, he was Mr. Chapman was dead, but there was testimony at trial from a prisoner where Mr. Byles told him that he was the one who in fact killed Mr. Chapman, and that the friend was outside. Mr. Dunn also had a life sentence, and he died while he was in prison. So for those reasons, we're opposed to his request at this time.
Ms. Renata, he did complete substance abuse in 2023, anger management in 2019, 100 hours in 2017.
Thank you. When was his last write-up?
December the 30th, 2011, and it was a Rule 5.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Byles, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you answer his questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Byles, just like Mr. Meyer said, there is a lot of contradiction in the statements that happened. Did y'all steal anything from the house?
No, sir. Well, it wasn't y'all, Mr. Robert Don stole his truck for the no.
What about some quarters? Did y'all steal some quarters?
That was on the police report. You know, that's the only way I know it. He stole this guy's truck.
I stole the truck, right? He got caught with the truck. But did y'all take an envelope full of quarters?
Sir?
Did y'all take an envelope full of quarters?
Not that I know of.
Okay, well, what if I tell you that a lady at the bar said you and the guy, your co-defendant, came in and cashed in the quarters that was stole from his house?
I believe she misunderstood. She didn't recognize me because I never was in the bar. And if you've ever been in there, which I have been in there before, but if you've ever been in there, you can't hardly see 3 feet in front of you. And the place stinks worse than a bathroom does.
But you never been in
it. Reason why I never stayed in there. I went in there once my whole life. Never went back again.
Okay, I see you have a second-degree battery charge from Colorado. In fact, what was that about? I think you were on supervision for it when this crime occurred.
Yeah, that was about assaulting a state trooper.
You know, there's no doubt you have a serious illness, and I don't think at all that you're a threat to society. But it really seems to me that a medical furlough or medical parole is going to happen way before any pardon would ever happen. I mean, it's possible it could happen, but I don't see a pardon happening before the medical parole. But so it's your statement that you didn't kill anybody, that you didn't do it.
I didn't kill no one. All I did is introduce Mr. Time.
So you were just bragging when you was in the jail, and you said that you couldn't ever wasn't the first time that you.
I never said those things. In fact, the person who got up on the witness stand and stated that I said something like that is he had told me that they're going to take his privileges of seeing his children away from him. And I asked him why. He said, well, they said the next time they picked him up, they were going to for assault and disorderly conduct, they were going to take his privileges of seeing his kids away from him. And I said, well, you know, I don't know what I said really, but I just wonder if he ever got his privileges of seeing his children taken away from him, you know, for getting up on that privilege witness stand.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, the DA's office is the one that made that statement he told me.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Any other questions?
No, really. Yeah.
I don't see any other questions, Mr. Biles. I believe I'm going to call for the vote, and we'll ask Mr. Freeman to vote first.
As I stated, Mr. Biles, I think your medical furlough is going to be your quickest way out. You know, this was a serious offense.
Well,
and good classes.
Friend. And
What?
Mr. Chapman, he was my friend.
Right.
I didn't aim for something like that to happen to him.
My vote today is going to be to deny, because I've got to admit, the more statements you make, the more I think you're just hiding the truth from us. So my vote is to deny.
Mr. Tillis,
I'm going to deny also.
Mr. Craig.
My vote is to deny because he's a third offender, because of the seriousness of the crime, and because you were on supervision at the time that you did the murder. So, deny.
Mr. Biles, my vote's going to be to deny because I do believe that you will be more appropriate as a medical treatment furlough candidate. I think that's going to be your lead. So today, sir, your application for clemency has been denied. All right. Good morning, Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
My name is Lonnie Kennedy, 110432.
All right, that's what I got. Good. Let me acknowledge you have with you there at Angola, you have your niece Amy Jinks and your nephew Kevin Posey, and also Amy and Kevin will be speaking on your behalf. Also, there's Christy Hosea. On Zoom is Joanna Hosea, and we also have Mr. Myers with the Parole Project. We also have here today on Zoom representing the victim, Terry Pantanople and Rachel Pantanople, both of whom will be speaking at the appropriate time. First, Mr. Kennedy, I'm going to read some identifiers into the record. Let me get to the page. I apologize. So you're here today, you are seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish, May of 1985 to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So before we start our interview process, Mr. Kennedy, we'd like for you to tell us how you end up in jail, you know, what you do, and you submitted an application to commute your sentence. Why do you think you deserve that?
Yes, ma'am. So on the night, October the 29th, in 1982, I took a beautiful young girl's life, Marty Jo Panther. I was at home in my bed, and when I heard someone knocking on the door and I didn't know who it was, I grabbed a gun and went to see. And it was her and her boyfriend and backed up to the apartment with a pickup truck, wanted all the furniture. And we had an argument. The argument lasted almost 30 minutes. It was over whether or not she would return home, or when I could see my son, or all the stuff that was in the apartment. And we argued over 30 minutes. And I wound up and I shot her. I took her life.
Okay. So why do you think you deserve to have your sentence commuted?
Well, over these last 40 years, I've become a changed person. When my father died, I realized I felt pain and I needed a change in my life. So I got a GED in 1997 after my father died. And I tried to get in other classes, which was hard at that time. And I wound up in the last 3 or 4 years, I achieved all this. 100 hours, substance abuse, anger management. And right now, I'm currently enrolled in victim awareness. I realized I had more victims than just Marty Jo and her family. All those people that were standing up there watching me do what I did, they were victims.
All right. Well, let's like to ask the warden, is there anything you can share about Mr. Kennedy?
He has served 42 years of his sentence. It's for second-degree murder, as you stated. He's housed at our Camp F area, our trustee area in Dorm 4. He works on line 37. He's had a total of 20 DV reports, with the last one being in 2004 for a Rule 11. As stated, he's completed anger management, 100 hours for substance abuse, his GED classes as well, and he's currently in victim awareness
Yes, ma'am.
program.
I'm almost finished with it. We had to let her accountability.
Good. So we're going to hear from the folks who want to speak on your behalf. First, we'll hear from the Parole Project. Mr. Myers.
Good morning, Kerry Myers of Louisiana Parole Project. We're here to support Mr. Kennedy in his request. Obviously, the pardon board's function is to consider cases. It's a board of last resort, in essence, because they have the person before you has no other options. And the board is, while everyone has committed a serious crime to be in front of you, the person who committed this crime 20 or 30, and in this case 42 years ago, is to be evaluated for who they are during their incarceration and who they are now. Mr. Kennedy hasn't had a write-up in 21 years. He's worked the same job in the same position for more than 2 decades. He's been a trustee for a significant amount of time. He's still involved in programming. While he takes full responsibility for the actions he committed and the crime he committed, this board is a board of last resort, and to look at the 70-year-old Mr. Kennedy today, as opposed to the 28-year-old he was when he went to prison and committed this crime, just ask this board to consider all those factors and commute his sentence to whatever this board would see fit.
Thank you. Could we hear from the folks there at Angola? First, could we hear from Amy?
We need to speak from Senate.
Really?
not sure what to say, but we've been coming here ever since he's been here, and you can see over time that he's always been a little different, a little better. And if he does get out, he'll have a place to stay with one of us, and we'll help him adjust back to society if he gets out. But that's all I've got.
Mr. Hosey?
Yeah, good morning. So like Amy said, me and her both have been coming to see Uncle Lonnie for the last 40 years, I'm assuming, ever since we've been in our teenagers. So we've seen him, we've known him as we were children, and we've known him as an adult now in here. We've watched him grow, I guess. We talked to different extents about what had happened and what his remorse is about it. And he's definitely a different man than what he was. That being said, he has lots of family support, including who you see here. That's my mother, Joanne, on the Zoom. So he definitely has a lot of family support here, and we're more than willing to help him adjust in any way possible. But as far as where he was from when he was 28 years old to 70, there's not the same man at all. And that's coming from somebody that's literally talks to him every month, maybe twice a month. So thank y'all for letting me speak.
Thanks for being there. And yes, I do want to acknowledge Ms. Joanne, who wanted to speak today, but because of some medical procedures, is unable to do so. But wanted to be sure you knew, Lonnie, that she is present and here in favor. We'd like to hear from the opposition now. Could we hear from Rachel? No. Joan? All right, I think we're having trouble connecting with her. Is Terry Pence on the line? You're still on mute, maybe?
Can you hear me now?
I can, thank you.
Thank you. I am Justin Panchinopoul's wife. He is not with us today. We have been notified of this parole and pardon. And on his behalf, I'm just going to read a letter that we wrote 2 years ago. I don't know if you have it in front of you, that we submitted to this board. And it was his words. And he just wrote, life without parole meant that the man known as Lonnie Kennedy that shot my daughter on October 29th, 1982, would spend his entire life until his death in prison. I can say at 81 years old, I still have that memory. I have the memory of sitting in the hospital next to her bed, her head wrapped and swelling hour by hour until her death. Not a word was spoken, not a movement from her body, as I prayed for some sign of life, some sign that she knew I was there. Mr. Joe Dyer called to ask how I feel about the request, which I understand is for the governor to reduce the terms of Lonnie's conviction sentence, either by decreasing prison time or absolving him of this crime. I have no words for this absurd request. The Louisiana Division of Probation and Parole can conduct their investigation into this offense and make their decision. But let it be known, I am no part and will ever be part of supporting.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, we do have that in our record, part of the permanent record. Thank you for sharing that with us. Did we get Ms. Rachel Panchinopoul?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. What would you like us to know?
I would just like to repeat everything that Terry had originally said. And his original sentence was life in prison without the chance of
probation, anything. You know, we were robbed of my sister, of her daughter, of my dad's daughter, for life. 40, however many years it's been, 43 years has not brought my sister back. So I don't see why after 43 years, he's going to get his life back. So, just the way I feel.
Thank you. And we appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer any questions he has?
How you doing, Mr. Kennedy? I went through your rec and read through it several times, and I see you've made a lot of changes. You've done well while you were there. When this happened, were you on drugs, using drugs, or?
Yes, sir, I was an alcoholic. I drank and did drugs almost every day. But since here, I haven't touched drugs in the last 30 years.
At the time of the incident, you were on drugs then?
Yes, sir.
How long had you and your friend been apart?
About 3 years. Oh, no. Apart?
So, yeah, you and your girlfriend, how long had y'all been separated?
Only a couple of weeks or so. At one time, when we were separated before, I had kidnapped my son. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to raise my son. But I never got the chance because I took her life.
I see. And you took a lot of classes while you've been there?
Yes, sir. I've tried to get in every class I could get in. But like I say, 10 or 15 years ago, it was hard to get in classes. But now it's more, they're more available to you.
Do you see your son now?
Well, I haven't seen him. He used to come up here to visit when he was living with my brother. My brother and my sister, I was sending him through high school, and he was coming up here on a regular basis. But since he got married and he moved to Lafayette, and the way things are expensive, he can't come there.
I see. Okay, I have no more questions.
Any other questions? I do note, Mr. Kennedy, in the record, we did hear from your son, Marty.
Yes, ma'am, I didn't know.
And we did, and he's not opposed to your favorable consideration. You just need to be aware of that.
Thank
All
you,
right. I don't see any other questions, so I'll ask for the vote. Mr. Tillis?
First time I read a case, I had made a decision, and I see the remorsefulness in you, and I see the hurt in the victims, and it's a difficult choice that I need to make now.
Yes, sir.
I'll go just going to be to grant with commutation of sentence.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Franklin?
Mr. Kennedy, this is a tough one because I'm so much against domestic violence, like everybody on this board, and it just kills me to think about. And I say, to use that word, kills me, because that's exactly what we're dealing with right here.
Yes, sir. You're right.
Oh, and when you get life in prison, the victims' families think, okay, we want to deal with that. But then, sure enough, they have to come up and have to deal with it. They have to keep coming and justifying things. So, how many years did you serve?
43, almost 43.
Okay. And you understand if you get a unanimous vote here, that it's just a recommendation that goes to the governor.
Yes, sir. The governor.
Opportunity for him to commute your sentence down to 99 years.
Yes, sir.
Then you still got to go through the parole process.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm gonna concur with Mr. Tillis and vote to grant this not grant it, but to recommend that you be eligible for parole at 99 year commuter sentence 99. I'm having trouble saying it. Maybe you clean it up.
Mr. Freeman.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy, it is tough because there's a life that was lost and you have the victims. Then you also have his son who's sitting there and he's unopposed. You served 43 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A long time. You got a great prison record. And it's the only charge on the rap sheet. I mean, even though it's a very, very serious charge, it's the only charge you have. You're taking good classes. I don't think you risk the public safety. Today, my vote is going to be to grant a commuter sentence to 99 years.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The recommendation.
And Mr. Kennedy, I do agree. My heart goes out to the parents and the family. My vote today is really based on the information I have that's from your son, Marty. My vote would be likewise to make the recommendation your sentence be commuted to 99 years. Good luck to you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck. All right.
Good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, there we are. All right. All right, Mr. Lopez, good morning. I guess. It's still morning. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Isidro Lopez, 100-881.
And you have counsel with you this morning? Counsel?
Good morning, Ms. Renata. Jane Hogan on behalf of Mr. Lopez, and I'll make a statement whenever the committee deems it appropriate.
Thank you. And for the record, we also have Mr. Myers' parole project who will we'll ask for his comments too. Mr. Lopez, you are here before the pardon board because you submitted an application to commute your sentence. You're currently serving a life sentence. You were sentenced in Orleans Parish in February of 1983 to life for first-degree murder conviction. Is all that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any trouble understanding English at all? Good. Okay, good. So before we hear from Ms. Hogan, we'd like to hear from you. Tell us, why are you in prison? And you submitted an application to commute your sentence. Why do you think you deserve that?
So what did you do first? The question is, what did you do? Oh, to tell them what you did, and then why vote for you.
What are my crimes?
Yeah, crime first.
In 1982, me and my partner, we agreed to go and rob a man. The man, Mr. Louis Sales, we were supposed to bring a bag with money to the bank, the pass. So I drive the car at the pass, and my partner got the man, put it inside the car, and we took off. The plan was bring the man to an area that there was no house and no people moving around, and get the money, let it go. Then I was inside the car, and I hear some chat. I look in the rear mirror, and I ain't see nobody but my partner when I pick up. So I got out of the car. I got out of the car, and when I asked him, why you shot it? And I look at, and Mr. Louis was laying on the floor. I don't know why. I still, in 43 years, I've never been thinking about why I have to got my little gun that I had at 22 and shot 2 more times. I regret that from the bottom of my life. And I've never been able to explain why I have to come out of the car.
And then tell them why. Why should they vote for you?
Well, I ain't no longer a man that was 43 years ago. I'm growing to be a man that will more responsibility, accountability for what I've been doing in the past. And thank you to all of these programs, especially the BMP program that was initiated by World Minor. Thank you to the program. Thank you to those programs. Thank you to all the wardens here in Angola and all the security staff that have always been paying for me. Thank you. I'm becoming a new person. I have a loving family that will help me and support me on all my ways out. I'm a man of integrity. I've been a man of integrity for the last 6 years. And I love living with integrity. And that's how I'm going to live the rest of my life, with integrity.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Gordon, can you tell us anything about Mr. Lopez?
Yes, ma'am. I've known him since the day he got here. I've watched him grow up here and become a man. Early on, he had some real bumps, but as he's gotten older, he's done well. He's go through all the programs that he had. He's taken a lot, but like I say, I've known him since he got here. I watched him. When he came, he had lots of problems, but I watched him mature and grow over here.
All right, Warden, I'm going to take over here. As we stated, he's serving a life sentence for first-degree murder. He also has a federal detainer with immigration. He is currently assigned to the 1 dorm where he works as a mentor. He's a Class A trustee. He's completed substance abuse in 2024, victim awareness and letter training in 2023, Toro leadership in 2022, thinking for a change in 2022, BMP in 2020, 100 hours in 2017, anger management in 2016, and his GED in 1993. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Lopez here. So for the past 3 years, I've been the deputy warden here. I've been able to work with Lopez. And you guys can look at his DD record. You know, he's had 70 DD reports, with the last one being in 2019. I'll tell you that it's probably been the last 5-6 years since he's matured, I guess. Became a man of integrity, as he put it. I will tell you one thing that sticks out most was about a year ago, we had the inmates from Camp C come to us as deputy wardens, wanting to know how they could help their fellow inmates heal from deaths that occurred in their housing area. So one of the ways that they asked was, could they have memorial services? And a few of the other guys at Camp C led this, and our first memorial service that was held at Camp C was amazing. And those that have followed, they've always made sure that any inmate population that wanted to attend it, they helped them, they mentored them, they made sure that everything was perfect for that offender. It's just like a memorial service you and I would go to. I would almost say sometimes even prettier and better, you know, it's more meaningful. Also, he takes on a lot of special projects, and I think he does it to keep himself busy, but also because he enjoys it now. You know, as he said, he's a man of integrity now. One of those projects being he's been painting our office buildings in the front administration wing. He has told me time to time that one of the things he would like to do when he gets out is mentor a younger kid, because I believe substance abuse played a major role in what he did. No, it's not an excuse. I don't think he would use it as an excuse. But I think having someone that knows what having a life-changing event is, go out in the public and speak to younger generations would be helpful. I see Mr. Myers is on the screen, so I'm assuming the Parole Project is going to step in to help him. I truly believe that he will need that when he gets out, because, I mean, he's been here 42 years. The world has changed. Speaking to Lopez, he talks about his family a lot, so I believe he has a good family support in that manner too. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Myers.
Yes, good morning. Again, Kerry Myers, Louisiana Parole Project. We are here to support Mr. Lopez. He has shown, particularly over the last 6 years, and his leadership through the behavioral management program as a mentor has been significant. He's helped change the lives of many people. He has a strong family support. As the deputy warden said, we will help Mr. Lopez should this board provide him a recommendation, and that recommendation gets signed, and should he ever be eligible for release through this transition. But he does have an extremely strong family support system. But we understand that 42 years of incarceration is a very long time, and we're uniquely equipped to handle that transition. So I know that Ms. Hogan is going to close, but we're, based on the things that you've heard today, we understand that we can assist Mr. Lopez in a smooth and successful transition. We would ask this board to give him a recommendation today.
Ms. Hogan.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to note that I don't see Mr. Lopez's family on Zoom. I did speak to his niece and his sister and his mother this morning. They were planning on attending through Zoom, so I'm not sure if there was a technical glitch, but he does absolutely have tremendous family support in the Miami area. If he were to ever be released, he has a federal detainer that he would have to deal with, so he would have to go into immigration custody, but he would not be in Louisiana long term. He would go to Florida, and I did speak with his family this morning, so I'm not sure why they're not here. But just to sort of piggyback on what's already been said about him, I think that it's, that somebody is truly an exceptional candidate for early release when the people that they work for come voluntarily from their busy roles within the prison to sit in the room and to support him. Miss Angela Butler, who is the warden over the behavioral management program, is in the room. She came to specifically to support Mr. Lopez. She's in the room. People that know him best have already spoken. Those are the warden, the security personnel at Angola. And in addition to painting the camp and working as a mentor in the behavioral management program, Mr. Lopez is actually, I mean, he's on call for anything that's needed. He preps food for the holidays. He cuts grass if needed. He's an extra hand in the visiting shed. In addition to that, he has sort of 3 different jobs. He's the clerk. He's the clerk for the warden at Camp C. He's an ACA clerk, and he's also the lead mentor, certified mentor in the behavioral management program. He is responsible for, he's one of 10 mentors who is responsible for 38 mentees. There's a backlog, so they do 90 days, then they're off for 2 weeks, and they have another cycle with 90 day cycles. And they're about to start on their 18th cycle, and Mr. Lopez has really been a part of this program since the 2nd cycle. His record is exceptional. His co-defendant went home several years ago. I'm not sure if it was through parole or if it was through sentencing out of Orleans Parish. But I wanted to note also that his co-defendant has been released, and as Mr. Lopez stated, he's been incarcerated now for 43 years. He is 66 years old. He has a low Tiger score. His work with helping people get off of drugs and stay off of drugs has been exceptional. If he is granted release, he is going to continue that work, and he has support through Parole Project and through his family to do so. So for all of these reasons, and also speaking to Mr. Lopez, if Mr. Lopez is ever asked about what he did or why he did it, he becomes visibly emotional. He carries a lot of remorse and a lot of shame for his actions and will for the rest of his life. And so his remorse is genuine, and his rehabilitation is genuine. And so for these reasons, we would ask this board to grant his request for commutation.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer any questions?
Yes. Yes.
Morning, Mr. Lopez. How are you?
How are you doing? He said, how are you doing? Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine. Thank you. He doesn't hear very well.
Okay. I take my hat off to the staff there. I think they deserve a medal. My questions were, and my answer today was different than what I'm going to say, but I have no more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Lopez, I don't have any questions. I've read all 273 pages of your record that was provided to us. I really appreciate the remarks by Warden Benoit. He's known you the longest, along with the kind remarks by Warden Olivo. So I don't have any questions either. I think that we are prepared to vote, and I'll ask Mr. Tillis to vote first.
The work and the staff there know you better than I guess I'll ever know you. And I'm going to, my vote is really because of what they said, and it is to grant the commutation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I concur with that. I'll vote for grant commutation to 99 years.
Thank you.
Also concurring, along with Mr. Tillis, I also thank the staff at Angola. You had so many letters in this record that I just started looking at the names on them and quit reading them.
Yes, sir.
So my vote today is to commute the sentence to 99 years with immediate parole eligibility. And I would like to say that the son of the victim was contacted, and he did not wish to make a statement.
Thank you.
My vote is the same. So on your behalf, we're going to make a recommendation to the governor for a commutation of your sentence. So good luck to you, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Board Member, that concludes our business at Go. We're going to sign off at 11:52.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
right, good afternoon. The pardon board is reconvening. We are now at David Wade Correctional Center. It is 11:59 in the morning on Monday, February 24th, 2025. With the staff there at Wade, please introduce yourself for the record.
Assistant Warden Ryan Kimball.
Lieutenant Colonel Savage.
That's
All right. All right, thank you. Thanks for accommodating us today. And we have Mr. Jennings there before us. Good morning, Mr. Jennings. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
David Louis Jennings II, 6 is 08885.
All right, Mr. Jennings, and I see that you can, I hope that you can see that your brother Christopher has joined us, and we're going to call on him for his remarks at the appropriate time. First, I'm going to read some identifiers into the record. Mr. Jennings, you are classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 30-year sentence. You were sentenced in Bossier Parish, May 7, 2013, for molestation of a juvenile. You do have a parole eligibility date, which is March 14, 2037. You do not earn good time, so the full-term date is March 13, 2042. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Jennings, before we start our interview process, we want to hear from you first and then those that want to speak. So you tell us, why are you in jail? And you submitted an application for a commutation of your sentence. Why do you think you deserve that?
Well, I have went through several classes here, and they have actually taught me what I did wrong and showed me that my victim, the things I did to my victim, was extremely painful and difficult for them. And I believe deep down that it will never happen again for me. I actually do have a statement that I have written for y'all.
Go ahead.
I would like to thank the board for the opportunity for clemency hearing. I know that I've committed a gruesome crime against a young girl named Parole. I have come to the understanding of how much I have harmed due to the classes that I have taken, such as victim awareness and sex offender treatment program. I've also learned that she's not the only victim of my crime. I also harmed her mother, her brother, her stepmother, and her fathers. I've also harmed my own family by taking their loved one and an important pillar of emotional and monetary support for them by choosing to commit this crime and being rightfully incarcerated for it. No apology can be made that can begin to make amends for my crime, and that I will suffer the guilt for the harm that I have caused for the rest of my life. My actions in the past have been often self-centered and harmful to others, but the classes I have taken and the interactions that I've had with others during my incarceration has prepared me for a future of making good choices and for the betterment of myself and everyone around me. The classes I have taken also have taught me patience, hard work, personal responsibility, self-empowerment. I know that upon my release, I will have an uphill battle, but I also know that I can and will overcome it with the help of my family and the tools from my classes given me. I will search out and utilize all support groups necessary for me to help maintain a crime-free life that I want to have. I plan to go to DWCC to become a chef and to make a career as a professional cook. I have obtained a food safety certified manager certificate and completed the DWCC culinary arts course offered at Wade, which will nearly open any door into restaurant employment. I feel that I have more to offer society now than I did prior to my incarceration. And with the many tools and self-control I've gained, I know beyond a doubt that I will never again act in a way that has the slightest chance of causing harm to another human being, especially a child. No man who has done what I have could honestly come before you and claim he deserves a second chance, or that he has done enough to earn one. I come before you to express my sincere remorse and to beg for the opportunity to show that I'm not selfish, ignorant person that I was before, and that I can and will have a positive impact on the world for the rest of my life. Thank you for your time, for listening to me.
All right. Good. You put some thought into it. That's great. Warden Kimball, what can you tell us about Mr. Jennings?
Yes, ma'am. Inmate Jennings has been here since 2013. He has participated in a multitude of classes, Celebrate Recovery, KJRA, sex offender treatment. He's a member of the JC's club. He did just finish, he's one of the first to graduate from that culinary program that we just implemented. So he has done well. He's not been a problem for staff, but the record reflects and pretty much speaks for itself.
Great. Thank you, sir. We'd like to hear from Mr. Christopher Jennings, please.
Hi, how are y'all doing today?
Good.
Okay, so I'm here to just speak and say that I do believe that he has remorse for what he's done. I do believe that if there was a way for him to, I don't know how to word this, and I do apologize, to not amend what he's done, but fix the issue that he has created for himself, that he would do that. I would be willing to help him with anything that he'd be able to, or he would need help with. I know I said in the letter when I had sent it in, the only thing I wouldn't be able to help him with is just a place to stay, but everything else I would have his back on.
All right. Well, thank you for speaking with us this afternoon. Mr. Jennings, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer his questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jennings. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. A little nervous, but good.
Okay, don't be nervous. I read through your case, and I was real pleased to hear what you said, and I see you've been trying to make some improvements. And I don't want to go back through what happened and all that, I guess. So you're trying to take things and doing things to better yourself?
Yes, sir.
Were they, one other question, were there any other victims?
Yes, sir. There was one of the victims that they did an investigation on, and it was her word against mine. Nothing came of it.
Oh yeah, that's good enough. I read that. Okay, that's it. I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions? All right. I don't have any questions, Mr. Jennings. The record is very complete. I do believe, I guess we're ready to vote. I'll ask Mr. Tillis to vote first.
Today, my vote's going to be to deny because of the length of time you spent, and I think you need more time in more classes. So my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Prater?
I concur. You served half of your sentence, and you took a pretty nice little plea agreement to get that sentence. So, and violating 4-year-old, I just can't see you getting out early. So, deny.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur.
And Mr. Kennedy, I do agree. You already have some relief in that you were afforded a plea agreement and you already have a parole eligibility date. It is still some ways off, but that would have been the only relief that I would have considered granting, and you already have that as part of your sentence. So my vote today also is to deny, in addition to the victim opposition that's been expressed to us. So today, sir, your application has been denied.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. That concludes our business. We're going to sign off at 12:08. Mr. Meyer in. So, good afternoon, sir. Sorry for the long wait. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and what is your current mailing address?
My name's Kevin Troescher. It's 1818 Clear Avenue. Right. 70053.
Thank you. And Mr. Osborne, would you just introduce yourself for the record?
I'm sorry. My hearing aids are not working. My name is Larry Osborne. I'm attorney and I represent Mr. Troescher. My office is 1120 Engineer Road, Texas.
Great, thank you, sir. And we have joining us who wants to speak. We'll call on Mr. Randy Meyer with the DA's office in Jefferson and the appropriate time allows for his remarks. First, Kevin, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record. So your DOC number, Mr. Troescher, is 401762. You're seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Jefferson, Florida. See, January of 2012, aggravated flight from an officer. You received a 2-year sentence, and that was suspended. You were placed on probation. In September, another one in September of 1998, a hit and run driving. You received a 5-year sentence. That was suspended. You were placed on 5 years probation. Is that information correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before we hear from Mr. Osborne, we want you to tell us in your words, okay, what led you to the criminal activity? Why are you seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms? And why do you think we should vote in your favor?
The first charge in 98, I actually struck an individual. It was accidentally. And back then we didn't have cell phones service. So there was right around the corner from my parents' house, and I left the scene, called the police, and the motorist arrived back on the scene. It was, his dad, and the guy was there, so I went back home and called the police again, and they came, did that investigation from there. In fact, when I went to trial, I didn't even, when I hired an attorney, I didn't even realize that it was a felony offense. I issued me a traffic violation, with tax. The second offense, which is the flag officer, I was on a motorcycle, and on my street, it was approximately about the 1900 block of where I live, which is pretty close to the expressway. I didn't even see the guy. I turned around and shoot me. And I got up on a high rise, and then he didn't catch up with me until the toll plaza, which by then, I didn't realize that I was in flight. The reason that I like to restore my rights is, I want to vote, become a normal citizen, and have, same rights as everyone else.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Osborne, before we hear from the DA's office, you want to tell us what you have to say?
Yes, ma'am. I was referred to the torture band this in a couple, 3 or 4 years. Did not know Kevin at that time. Since that time, I have represented the entire family. The things that we get involved with are not criminal. We've done some civil things. Mr. Troescher has built the business, and he has creditors that don't pay. The lawyers with collections. I've done some succession work for them, so I got to know him fairly well. We call each other by their name. So, knowing Kevin and how he has progressed from a kid that got into some things. He was a man, but a very young man at that time. So, he made some mistakes. I don't do a lot of criminal defense. However, if I had handled this, the aggravated flight thing would have been I happen to know the police officer who issued that ticket. I also happen to be record magistrate judge, and that officer who I know now, I realized when we got into this that he was a friend of mine who gave him the ticket. And my way of thinking, you know, an officer has a mind concept that he thought Kevin was running. You know, you can't change that. But that one little phrase, that, you know, that aggravated flight brought us here. The other things, Kevin has finished all of the requirements. He's initiated probation. He's made restitution. He's been a good citizen now for quite a number of years, and he has built his own company. The thing about having a convicted felon behind your name is not something that any of us like that. Kevin is now upstanding citizen. He's right for sure. He might even be served on a jury. See just how it goes. But anyway, I strongly support him, not just as an attorney, but the fact that we have now become friends. And I hope that the recommendation will be successful.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. We appreciate it. Could we hear from the DA's office now, Mr. Myers?
Yes, good afternoon, Rabbi Assistant DA Jefferson Parish. And as the board knows, we typically take a position in these types of cases of 10 years, a cleansing period with the individual, the applicant, showing that he's been a good citizen for 10 years. In Mr. TROESCHER, I'm saying that correctly, in his offense, really none of his offenses have been criminal in nature. They're all traffic offenses. But that's a big concern that I have. In the first incident in 1998, the young child, I think he was 13, I believe at the time, was, according to his sister, that victim is now deceased. According to the sister who was opposed to his request, he was very significantly injured in that incident. And in 2011, the aggravated flight, according to the police report, he was running red lights, weaving in and out of traffic, and was doing 125 miles an hour on the elevated expressway. That's where he got the aggravated portion of the offense. But when you look at his basically his rap sheet, he's had 36 traffic violations since that first incident in 1998. Only 4 were non-moving. 3 were alcohol related, DWI or alcohol in the vehicle. 12 were speeding, 4 were red light violations, and 5 were reckless or failure to maintain control. He's had speeding in 2020 and 2022. So now he continues to drive 4,000-pound vehicles recklessly, which could end up injuring someone again. So because of his very significant driving record since these accidents, we're opposed to him having a pardon on these cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. TROESCHER, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer his questions?
Good afternoon. How are you doing? I went through the case and looked through it, and the person that you struck, what happened? Are you on your bike or in a vehicle?
We're driving down the main boulevard of subdivision, which is South J Boulevard. There's a shoulder on the side of the road. I never did see the individual. What I think happened was, I think he was walking on the edge of that line, on the end of the shoulder. And I think that my mirror flipped him and it hit his head in the windshield. Because when we turned around, we didn't even know what happened. And there were some incidents and evidence in that case that had never gotten brought to light just because I think we took the plea bargain from the very beginning. Just my attorney that my dad hired at the time, had said basically like he said, I had priors with vehicle-related incidents that if I was found guilty, I was looking at upwards of 10 years in prison. So basically, we took the 5-year probation deal, kind of, knowing what I was getting into before I went to trial.
What was the information that you just stated that wasn't brought up?
Well, it wasn't discussed until later after the case was over with. A friend of mine's sister worked at the local neighborhood convenience store. And the guy that I hit, 13 years old at the time, was in there with his dad and he was getting some alcohol. And the kid told his dad, he'll just get a 6-pack, I'll drink a few. Well, so, there was never any blood or anything taken, so we don't know if he was influenced. I'm not.
A 13-year-old kid?
Yeah, and it was, it was brought to our attention after the case was settled.
Okay, good. Let me answer this. You had any other problems of assault or battery of a teacher?
I got into an altercation at school, and the teacher would separate us, and I just got that charge. When I was a juvenile.
Yeah, was it 1 or 2?
Incidents. I'm not sure. I think that I got thrown against a locker and I had a laceration on my back.
Okay, I have no questions.
Yeah, I think if you look at the records, the restitution that Kevin's had to make for various money, for the state of my sister or daughter's sister, that he had serious injuries, not bound. It's not shown. It's read.
He was hurt. He was hurt pretty bad.
He's hurt bad.
Yeah, he was hurt pretty bad. That was another thing with the case is that, because of the intensity of his injuries, the attorneys, did say that they would probably be pretty sympathetic, for child.
Yeah. And the other one I want to ask too, you got speeding tickets and you're doing 125 getting over it. Yeah.
Well, that's what Faison says, but the thing is, so where my street is, which I still live to today, the Claire address, it's right by Elevated Expressway. There wasn't even really a red light to run. And by that point, I had gotten onto Elevated Expressway, and he was nowhere around, so he has no idea how fast. And I was not speeding, absolutely. Was I going minutes? I don't think it was that fast. Because from where you get on the high rise to the toll plazas, I don't know, not very far. And they were already, he'd already met up with me when I stopped.
When you say not very far, when you say a mile, 2 miles?
I guess, yeah, something in that age of 2 miles, maybe.
I used to ride bikes and I could do 125.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. But as far as the multiple traffic violations, there again, this is an excuse. I'm a contractor. I'm on the road a lot, and leaving Red Road today. And I guess there's times when maybe I am in a rush, not paying attention to speed. But there again, I don't guess it's.
I have more questions.
I got one question for you. When you filled out this application for what we're here to for a pardon today, these are your words according to this. It says, when I was 20 years old, I was charged with hit and run driving fatality. I pled nola contendere. I was involved in an accident where my outside mirror struck a pedestrian. I was only a few blocks from my father's house, and I went there to call the JPSO. I went back to the scene, and police were already there. The pedestrian suffered only minor injuries. But that's not true, is it?
No, sir.
Why did you write that in your application for parole, for pardon?
No, that's what we came up.
I wrote for the application before you. I have learned a great deal since then looking at the record, but it was always my impression that Kelly Bishop, the side mirror, brushed against this young fellow and caused him some damage. And then I'm looking at the restitution. Not that there was some serious injury. Certainly the restitution might have been more than what, $500 or something like that, which he has paid probably. Requirement of his role. Today, I'm first hearing them that perhaps was there a lawsuit filed?
I was subject to pay some restitution. I don't know what amounts.
Did someone file a lawsuit against you?
No, I think that my insurance covered their damages. What was that?
Well, that's all the questions I have. And Mr. Attorney, I can't believe you rode with him here. Know everything you know. But anyway, I don't have any other questions.
No, I just would like to say that the victim in that offense lived in a wheelchair the rest of their life, and it was very, very serious. Matter of fact,
That's not correct.
Yeah. Was that not?
That's not correct. Because I live right around the corner from the guy. He did suffer some injuries, but he wasn't a wheelchair bound, right? And it was an accident. It wasn't like an intentional.
Could I ask another question? And I really am trying to say, the mirror just brushed you. How fast were you driving?
I was speeding like this in the neighborhoods, 25.
You don't, so what your record says, you don't abide by the speed limits, but you think you were doing about 25?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
So, I just want to comment, not necessarily, well, yeah, I have a question. I have your juvenile record also. And Mr. Tillis, you mentioned a couple of instances, 192 and 193 battery of a school teacher. I see another one in Jefferson Parish in 94, and I'd like you to just tell us about it. It says attempted first-degree murder and obliterated serial. What was that instance about? There's his juvenile record includes an arrest in 1994 for attempted first-degree murder and obliterated serial number.
So in that incident, some friends of mine that got into control, and I drove them from the scene. So my charge should have been accessory after the fact.
And then there are several instances of unruly and uncontrollable as a juvenile. How would you respond to that?
Sure.
In 93, 2 instances in 93, February of 93 and September of 93. I don't have a lot of detail, just that the record shows unruly and uncontrollable.
Sure, man. I do think that Mr. Chuck had asked me. I think there was another time when I went to grab the key to the restroom or something, and my hand hit the teacher's hand, so I think that maybe the other incidents or something of that nature.
You just had a reputation problem.
I'm not gonna lie, yes, ma'am. And I had a bad name for myself at that age. you know, and, attention deficit disorder, you know, did have a lot of problems at school.
All right, any other questions? I don't see any other questions. I think that we are prepared to vote. Mr.
My
Tillman?
vote today is to deny.
Mr. Prater?
Motion to deny.
Mr. Prater?
Well, my vote is to deny because of his horrific driving record after the events which took place, and you can't vote now. You don't have to have a pardon to vote.
Yeah, and I was going to mention it too. You do your voting rights. You have those. My vote today is to deny based on your driving record. I mean, even as late, I believe we said 2020, there's been some traffic violations, and that's concerning to me. I think that's a public safety issue. So my vote today is to deny. You've received a unanimous vote to deny your application today. Clean up your driving record.